ladies and gentlemen, we just watched one of the most highly anticipated matchups of Day 1 for Quidditch Cup 11. It was QC Boston taking on Texas Cavalry, and the reigning national champs beat QC Boston. And over here, we got on the right-hand side Rochester United. On the left, we got the regional champions in the Warriors. Get ready to get brooms up going over here. Rochester U, slide in at the quaffle play, and it goes right to John Jackson, just like they drew it up.
Just like the last game we were talking about, Cavalry versus
QC Boston.
QC Boston. Those are both teams with great pedigrees at Quidditch, and we get to see that again here in Rochester and Guardians.
And a free run and a beat up top, and it looks like the Warriors may get a good start on this one. They do. Nice stop and pop over there just to draw the attention of the beaters and make sure you get that last second pass. Always good to see that unselfishness. I know I know you talk about a lot of players like to be hero ball is in the past now, thankfully, in Quidditch's history, as a lot of teams try to still hang on to it, and strategy has evolved beyond one player being the center of the offense.
And that's why I think these teams have been successful for all these years, is that they realize that they can't have one person be their linchpin for the team. So they're very, very good on the team environment.
And a beat up top, which we've seen for the second time here today, although I will say Rochester United adjusted very well to the second time. Instead of getting beat up top and turning the ball over, they get a quick pass across the front of the hoops and finish one on the far left-hand side, the empty side of the defense. Good rotation from the United.
Quick one-timer to Maria Jackson, number 11 on Rochester United.
Maria Jackson's been at this game for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen. She was really good for Rochester United last season when they went to the Elite Eight. And a nice shot and score to response to the Warriors, which is, you talk about the Warriors and what their skill set is. You see that they are a well-conditioned team, and then on top of that, mix the finesse with the toughness very well.
Absolutely. That toughness, I mean, and it's aggression too. It's a team that does a full press when they need to. It's not violent aggression. It's, hey, we're here. We want to play this game. We want to win this game.
Right.
We're going to want it more than you are.
John Jackson switching position. I'm sorry, that's Herbert up top. Sorry, Herbert on the far right-hand side. John Jackson up top. A shot off the hoop. It's going to be called no good. It was tipped at the very last second by the Warriors. Tipped out of play, and it looks like they're going to get a run at this one. They're ready to go.
Warrior beaters are running this game right now, one of them being Amanda Dallas. Great communication between the beater buddies, and that's really what's going to kind of set a pace for the team. You want to have that control.
And Amanda Dallas joined us earlier today with some great commentary during our Ohio University versus Kansas game, and a nice strip from Rochester United, and the continued pressure up front. Rochester United driving and forcing a retreat from the Warriors, and now another diving steal. John Jackson is able to get away from one of the Warriors there as he dove down on that quaffle in front after that bobble catch, and that's why you got to that's why you got to use two hands for safety, kids.
That's what you want in the keeper, is to put your body on the line, and Jackson's just laying it out there.
And Herbert gets beat up front, and now there's a mix-up between the legs of John Jackson and one of the chasers for the Warriors, and that scramble for that ball. Sometimes you just got to hustle hard, and that was a perfect example of it, hustling hard, getting you a bucket. Both of these teams quite accustomed to these conditions. As a native Texan, native Houstonian, I think it's freezing out here.
Yeah, and I knew you would, but I mean, we're talking about Rochester United, and the Warriors are a Northeast team, and these are both teams that are used to playing in snow, playing in Snowditch, worst conditions, and honestly, a beautiful day like this and wind is the best we can ask for.
And remember, we are covering a community team game here, the Rochester United versus the Warriors, so they are in pool play as we speak. So the winners, they will play 4 pool play games here today, and they will play 1 tomorrow. And it looks like a late drop by Rochester United. The Warriors get a quick turnover, see if they can make Rochester pay for it. Nice spin move. New had great awareness on Rochester United's point chaser up front, and a shot off the mid-hoop. They're going to call it no good. They're going to say it went wide, and now Rochester is beyond the arc over there for a second.
They also have bludger control as well. Just a missed throw from one of the Guardians. I keep doing that. Warriors beaters gives Rochester United both bludgers, and that may turn the tide here in a pace in their favor.
And the Warriors, champions of the Mid-Atlantic just a couple of months ago, had to start their regionals early. Rochester United gets another goal, that one from Herbert.
Shane Hurlburt, and another one of that pedigrees we're talking about. He's got a lot of years in Quidditch and a lot of experience, and he's pretty much a leader on that team, but that team is full of leaders.
And you can tell the kind of leadership that he's bringing. His Facebook profile picture is him sitting on the ground while QC Boston celebrates behind him. And the quote underneath it is, "Let your failure do nothing but push you harder." It's the mentality that he's bringing to the team, and it shows as the wins have been. Yeah, exactly.
A quiet beater battle happening over here in mid-pitch between Rochester and the Warriors.
And now a rotation over to the open beater up top, and that was, might have been a late throw, but nonetheless, the referees let that one fly. There is going to be a loose bludger up front. Rochester's going to miss on that throw. 2 bludgers down. One is in possession of the Warriors, and a nice finish on the far side of the hoop over there. The Warriors more than willing to attack from the direct side of the hoops. They're willing to attack from the flat side, a side where there is no shot available. You drive and kick in because teams are willing to give you that space for free on that side.
Now Rochester's looking for those bludgers once again. They had momentary possession until a call was made against 17.
Hurlbert takes that shot off the right-hand side. Shane Hurlbert makes that one. Hurlbert, a former member of Team USA back in the day, 2016.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, as in 2 years ago. It is a World Cup year. IQA World Cup is going down in Florence, Italy. I can tell you this right now, win, lose, or draw, it's going to be pretty fun. Although Team USA is all business when they go to Florence, one of the most historical cities on the planet. Throw up front. Rochester United got 2 bludgers down. Now there's all 3 of them down. This is a run for the Warriors off the left-hand side. Oh, and it's stripped by Hurlbert at the line. Oh, no, that's John Jackson with the strip, who's playing the keeper position up front. And that was pretty good, especially considering the Warriors were closing in on them. Knowing when you got that beater immunity, you can be a little bit riskier with your body.
Absolutely. It's almost like a free ride sometimes, but Rochester United is not a defense that you can have a free ride against, even if you have both bludgers. They're putting up a great fight so far.
And a throw and a late one there. As a matter of fact, gets beat at the moment, and now a run from the Warriors. 2 chasers there. A nice pass backwards with no bludgers in the picture. Oh, a nice tackle up front, and the Warriors are back in action again. They are resilient. A gang tackle from Rochester United.
Number 7, Solon Gomeniak, really putting the pressure from the defense and giving the Warriors a second thought about coming into their backfield.
No doubt about that, and the Warriors, as you mentioned, you don't get to play Quidditch at this kind of level unless you can take a hit, get back up, and deliver one, and the Warriors have done that, and then some. The beater play has been interesting. Of course, the Warriors, a team significantly larger than their opponents most of the time, especially coming out of their region in the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, good size.
The bludgers, when they're down on the ground, it is money for the Warriors, straight money for the Warriors.
Yeah, it's advantageous to be a small target when you're a beater, but you also have to be scrappy. So it's a great cross-section of small targets, big muscle.
And Rochester United, although without bludger control, they're still making runs on defense. A missed shot up front, and now a chaser behind the hoops. Another pass up front. John Jackson comes up with it, and
wait for the call here. We got to stop at your play. A couple of bludgers rolling away.
As one of those bludgers she's trying to get that one to roll back towards her on this side.
Now, Sally Smacher, number 24, has been a key beater for Rochester United over here, both in the front and the back, playing point beater for defense and really scrambling on the ground. So she's not a large person. We're talking about that muscle, that tenacity from a beater, and she's got it.
And she's also pretty sneaky when it comes to getting behind that beater who thinks they're safe when they're the second level. They're the second level of defense. Absolutely. When they don't see the other beater around, and she blends in pretty well with the rest of her teammates. And I've seen her do it a couple of times. She's come up and stolen a bludger or 2 here today. New chaser into the game.
Maria Jackson out for Alyssa Giaroso, number 47.
Yeah, Alyssa, formerly of the IRT Dark Marks. And a face beat on an immune player. And now it looks like he's decided that the bludgeon that he used to face beat him with is going to be the one that he wants now. He almost came up with that tackle there up front. And now a good shift move. That was a nice jump step to get away from a tackle. Another nice pass and a mid. Oh, wow, that was just beyond mid-pitch for that nice shot up front. And that's another thing. As a guy from the Southwest, I'm not accustomed to seeing people shoot on a regular basis. So when I see those shots go in, I'm always amazed a little bit more than the average Quidditch player. But the Warriors, an elite-level team, so the shooting aspect, of course, a big part, not a big part of their game, but a repertoire to have as in the toolbox.
It's a toolbox. That's what makes them a next-level team, is that they can shoot. A lot of teams are saying, put your hand through the hoop. We do not trust you to shoot it. But when you have the practice and the ability, Warriors are going to take that.
Running down the free side over here, an excellent last-second pass, and there's still a chance to come up with a finish as Rochester United gets a tackle, and that is, I think that's Danson over there, right? Dan Sandin,
yeah,
who got the tackle. There you go. Dan Sandin, the chaser, came up with that tackle, and now Cody Kiefer has now entered the game, number 99 for Rochester United.
Now they're taking their time coming down the pitch because they're taking a leaf out of the Warriors book. In the last goal from the Warriors, they were ready to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Bringing that chaser in, passing it back. Bringing that chaser in, passing it back. It's this patience that both of these teams have that we're going to see a lot of action from.
Holbrook goes across the pitch off of his back on a nice throw. Clearly somebody's been working out. And a nice catch up front, but a beat on that opposing chaser for the Warriors, jars that ball loose, allows it to be up for play, and then it gets shot through and missed by Rochester United, as it has been interesting in terms of how the offense has come apart.
Dan Gagne out, number 18, switching out bludgers. Rochester United does have possession right now, playing an I formation. Number 69 for Rochester coming in, Jason Kramer.
As Kiefer's going to get beat up top. He's a pretty hefty when it comes to playing point chaser up there, as Sandin is going to be trying to swipe away at the keeper for the Warriors. Sees an opportunity, cuts back in. Nice move from a big guy up front, and an easy score off the far left-hand side, number 49 with the finish.
Another great sign of an excellent team is using those offensive beaters very, very well. And that's what they just did there. I mean, it came in hot, and the Guardians were, I keep doing that, that's their B team. The Warriors were ready for it. They saw that. You know, you get a lot of chances from your offensive beaters, but if you're not going to capitalize on it, it doesn't mean anything. The Warriors just did.
And 70-30 so far in this game, as the Warriors have the lead. A nice cut across the middle, cut across the front of the hoops from John Jackson. Nothing doing on that one. Good read from the Warriors defense as they saw him coming across, and they made sure that as soon as he caught, he was going to be met by at least 2 or 3 Warriors, and that forces a turnover, as we've seen that happen a couple of times. His current score 70-30 in favor of in favor of the Warriors here. Rochester United trying to get back into this one.
Warriors are chaining bludger control here, marching up slow.
And it's very strange because the Rochester United defense has been pretty potent out here today. The offense is what's been struggling. So another run at a loose quaffle, but a nice last-second pass to get away from a tackle and get the pass to somebody who can actually do something with it, as Herb was trying to get a run out in transition. This can make it 70-40. A spin backward to Herbert, and he gets beat on his left quad.
Warrior beater number 1 is flying around the pitch, had about 5 or 6 knockouts just in that last play. Obviously an asset for the Warriors.
And a broom grab from number 49 of the Warriors. He tried to throw up the hand heart. That usually doesn't work too well. Officials just have to call what they have to call. Hand hearts regardless.
Gominiak for number 7 for Rochester's going to start with the ball here, almost in the key for the Warriors.
And Gominiak, like you said, up top, got that ball back to Herbert just before he went down, and that pull was called. And Gominiak, one of those unique players, you can tell just his skill level alone off this fact alone. He played MLQ, and that was his rookie season in Quidditch before it was USQ. So,
wow, yeah. I mean, just look at the guy's jersey. You see some action.
Right, exactly.
It's the dirtiest one out there.
And he is their top defender. His point defense is invaluable for Rochester United. And taking a little bit longer than you think. After a routine penalty call. And this is very interesting. I wonder what the discussion is about. Maybe the score correction or something like that. But we talk about other games that we've seen results for. Texas Cavalry remains undefeated. They beat QC Boston. They're now 2-0 in pool play. And another key that's going on right now, a 1 seed going through quite the ringer in their regional play. 6 games to be played in pool play. 0-2 are the Nomads, the number 1 seed out of Pool A.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of teams coming out strong here, and you're going to be rooting for them and seeing 2-0 in pool play. But when it comes down to it, especially Quidditch tournaments, national Quidditch tournaments, it's teams that are used to playing full-day tournaments, 2-day tournaments, that know how to conserve the energy, use the energy. For when it comes back day 2, that's the team that's still going, still pumping, still trying very, very, very hard and winning that you want to look out for.
And Kramer trying to have a discussion, I believe, about whether or not he grabbed somebody's broom while he was trying to get a tackle on a quaffle there. Score 70-30. Running it down is going to be number 7, Mickey out there, but he's not going to beat out the beaters who were running that play down and actually get sent back to hoops here. And the problem is with Rochester United so far in this game, when they make their subs, there's a significant drop-off in terms of the offensive productivity, as opposed to when Jackson and Gamecki are out there as well. It's just something we saw earlier on this broadcast for pitch 1, as we see the Warriors send a new beater into the game, and he's ready to go to work. He's trying to get to the only bludger that Rochester has, and as a matter of fact, intentionally pump faking just to distract the beater, essentially, to make sure that she has to make a turn and throw, which is a way more difficult skill to use than being able to square your opponent up. And guess what? The Warriors capitalize off that.
Great pass from across the hoops over to another Warriors player straight through the right hoop. A lot of good hands, a lot of quick passes, and that's what you need in this sport.
No doubt about that. Especially good hands are hard to find, and they're very hard to build in terms of a Quidditch skill. Some people who get into the game of Quidditch have never played any other sport other than Quidditch, so gaining those kind of skills like throwing a ball and catching it or something like that are difficult to master. And then you see other experienced college players still have trouble making those contested catches, just because for that split second their mind reaches out and they're wondering, where is that person at that I saw? I know somebody's around here somewhere, and it distracts you for that half a second, and then before you know it, the ball's on the pitch.
Field awareness is incredibly important in that way. I've always admired RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, for their hands. They don't have a large team, they don't have a deep team, but they have some of the best passing and catching I've seen out here. And we saw that at the last Nationals with their deep drive into the bracket.
And Prada's out here trying to make sure the Warriors have a good offensive set here. Rochester United trying to force a turnover, but not enough people forcing their way up the pitch, as
Pat Callanan, number 17 for Rochester, just beat out.
And like you said, Callanan looked like he was the guy who was initiating the pressure, and once he got beat out, it kind of broke down, and the Warriors got back to doing what they were wanting to do, and that's working their way up the pitch slowly. And I thought Prada got beat, but he's got one arm that's pinned down, held back, and an excellent vision. 3 chasers around him and still able to find his teammate. That's the kind of calm that you like to have when you're inside the keeper zone, as Holter tries to come up with another goal there, and he does.
And that's great to see from the referee team. Honestly, there's a lot of chances for referees to see something, think they see something, stop the play in the drive and the possibility of a score. But they had three pairs of eyes on it. They saw that he wasn't beat. It was a friendly fire, and let that happen. And that's the way that it should go.
And like you said, what the referee does see and what actually happens sometimes is 2 totally different things. But for the most part, these guys are out here. They're trying to pay attention. They're the LA Gambit's provided officials, so they've seen quite a few Quidditch matches in their day.
Absolutely, and referees are humans. I can tell you that from experience. But it is literally their only job on the pitch is to make sure everybody's playing fair. So when a player says, no, that's different, players have a different job. So you got to leave it up to the referees whether or not you think their call is correct, because that's the only thing they're looking at.
And now a tackle off the right-hand side. John Jackson is able to pull down Prada with 2 of the bludgers on the pitch there. Great tackle from Jackson up top. And sad to say, Rochester United had an opportunity there to gain bludger control and couldn't come up with it just yet. The Warriors have done a great job of, when their offense breaks down, knowing exactly where each other are, so they can draw that beat and get Rochester United off balance.
They create opportunities and see the opportunities. It's good teamwork.
Hard to gain. A lot of hard work that has to go into that. I can tell you that right now. Olbert comes up with a pop-up and a nice catch in front of the keeper zone over there.
Maria Jackson giving up some more defense for Rochester.
And Cody Kiefer getting into the game here. Kiefer, if I am correct, recovering from an ACL tear. Oh, that looked like it was a tackle below the knee, but Holbert is going to pop right back up, and that's what he's trying to say it was. It seemed like it was there for a second, but that is not going to be the case. Holbert back up top, and Rochester United's beater is going to finally work his way back into this one, but because the Warriors' beaters are so close to their own hoops, they're getting popped, and then they're getting right back into the one. So the Rochester United beaters not only have the time, they're beat so well that their chasers and keepers can get easy shots open. They got to hustle and get their own ball back, because as soon as they get beat, they're going to run the entire pitch.
Sure.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's almost a kamikaze move for the beaters, too. It was, let's see, that was...
I think that was Callum.
Kyle Savarese coming in with a bludger for the offense on Rochester. Didn't do a whole lot for himself, but opened that window in that lane for the score.
And like you said, it's very clear. Nice beat from Lee up top. Got both of the bludgers on the ground. The Warriors holding up, though. Kick beat. A very finesse move if there ever was one from a beater. Now a throw back up top. The Warriors. Nice move. There you go. And now he's got Cody Kiefer in lane. Let's see if he can keep making one. Amanda Dallas up front trying to occupy the beater, and he goes right to Lee. Lee gets beat on his calf. 2 bludgers are down. Cody Kiefer is going to be able to get the ball right back. He's going to get beat on his back, so the quaffle is loose. He shouldn't have been able to make that pass. Amanda Dallas hit Kiefer on his back. He probably couldn't tell because there were so many people trying to hit him.
But we got assistant referee Stephen DiCarlo with his eyes on the play.
Team captain for the LA Gambits.
That is correct.
And Kiefer's going to limp off the field here.
A little worried about that knee. I saw some pain in his eyes.
And it looked like it bent in an awkward direction. Hopefully Kiefer's going to be all right and return to this game.
Now Rochester's going to have to watch out for Kiefer and both Kiefer and Gaminia, because they are both of their main seekers. So they're going to start pulling Gaminia back from a main chaser role here pretty soon. So we'll have our famous Rob Snitch be the snitch for this game.
And we talk about the seeker game. It always very few teams have a roster deep enough to have a person solely dedicated to seeking, and it's a totally different angle when you have somebody dedicated to going out there and specifically designed to go out there and get the snitch. And with Rochester United, they got a couple of guys on their lineup, a couple of experienced guys as well, and like you mentioned Kiefer, who went out there and actually grabbed for overtime versus QC Boston all those years ago when Rochester United played against QC Boston in the final for U.S. Quidditch Cup 9. Quidditch Cup 9.
Sending in number 8, Alexa Hurlbert for Rochester's side for their starting seeker. We're going to see some subs here pretty soon, but you want a fast and aggressive player to come out and set the pace for your seeking.
And Metzer sets a pretty nice screen for Crawford up top that would have worked if the beater exchange had happened. Lee gets a catch over the side. Rochester United's down to 0 bludgers. And a throw, wait a minute, that might have been, Crawford might have been beat before. No shot was taken, so it didn't matter.
Nothing through the hoops.
Yeah. And quick subs coming from Rochester United. Pierosa's back into this game, Alyssa. And
seekers are released.
Yes, they are. Warriors up big in this one already, so they're looking for a quick pull here to save and conserve some energy for later on in pool play.
Hurlbert's defense falls short as she's quickly beat, but hustling back to the snitch.
One of the ARs is down. Her knee kind of got slid into as one of the seekers was thrown into her. And a saying that never gets old. Rough game that sport coaches.
Not something you often see in a game is a referee either getting on the way or getting hit or being down. A lot of our Quidditch referees are good about seeing where the play is moving because they play Quidditch and they get out of the way, but it is a fast game.
Yeah, and sometimes the snitch moves so suddenly you can't even react to it. Beating down the beater play of Rochester United is able to get one against the Warriors there. They've been pressuring a lot more, and I think they realize the only way to go out here and be able to get back into this game is to send that pressure up front, or else the Warriors are just going to sit back on the hoops.
Hurlbert, number 8, still putting in a lot of hustle for her team. She's going to be coming out here pretty soon to give another chance to,
And a nice grab, but the snitch was on his way down to the ground. Have to wonder if they're going to try and call it off because the snitch had fallen at the time, but sometimes the snitch will say, oh, he had me before I fell down. I fell down because he got me, not because he tripped me up.
Yeah, I mean, the snitch is a game ball. If you look at it, honestly, the snitch runner is another referee, and they have to look at that.
And There you go. The Warriors get a win over Rochester United here, getting a decisive one at that over Rochester United. They move to 0-2 in pool play so far today, and the Warriors continue their run as the top 3 teams in these 4 pools of 6 continue to work themselves out. We'll see what happens as this game continues to unfurl. A couple of teams working their way over here. I think it may be Ohio Glory and Florida's Finest next on this pitch. We'll find out in a little bit.
We got to really keep an eye out for Rochester during this tournament. Like I said before, you got to look out for those 2-day teams. Rochester is a team that's very familiar with large tournaments in New York,
right,
and in the Northwest. 0-2 right now is not worrying me for them. They may be worried, it's a team thing, but honestly, I'm excited to see them again tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you got to earn your way to that. You got to earn your way to playing to tomorrow. When it comes to the community pool, you got to be in the top 3 out of your pool. So Rochester's got some work to do. They got a couple of games to play, and it may very well come down to Sunday morning for them when they play their final pool play game.
Sunday morning is actually one of the most exciting times in the Nationals. It's a different time for a lot of teams.
No doubt about that. As I'm sure everybody at home can figure out, we're having a fun time here. If only we had a sailboat, we could have gone around the world and come back by now.
Honestly, I'm looking around for the windmills because we're harnessing this power.
As you got to keep your head on a swivel around here. Even some of our tents that are tied down with barrels filled with water. These barrels are kind of moving a little bit, making me a little uncomfortable. Anyway, Rochester United falls to the Warriors. The Warriors, the champions of the Mid-Atlantic, get a win here today. They move on to 2-0 in pool play. We'll be back in just a little bit. And Florida's Finest, who had a rough path to get to this point, are now walking over to get ready to warm up against Ohio Glory. Thank you for joining us here on US Quidditch Cup 11.